We have many guests in our home and many families who come over. And it's very interesting to watch how people parent their children and the different trends you see in parenting and what's in and what's out. So one thing I've definitely seen is there are many mothers who feel uncomfortable and are against their boys playing with guns and swords and weapons. Now, it's not like we have a bunch of guns and swords in our house, but we do have a lot of toys and we have costumes and left over from when our children were younger, and also we had a single mom with children who lived with us for a year. So we have a bunch of stuff like that. And in the toy box, sometimes they'll pull out and they'll find like a toy sword, and some of the mothers get very upset and take away, and this is not what we do. You know, in the story of Chanuka, the Jewish men who spent day and night learning Torah, at one point they realized they had to put the book down and they had to pick up the sword. They were called the Maccabees. The Maccabees were warriors, not by trade. They were probably thin, pale yeshiva boys learning all day. But when they realized that the threat to Judaism was very great, and that this was a war not for land, but for the spirit, that the Greeks were trying to wipe out, not the Jews, but Judaism, it was time to fight. There are times in Jewish history where we have to fight. And if you read the Torah, it's not just in self-defense. It's not just when you're attacked. Of course, when you're attacked, you have to fight. But there are times also to make that first strike, when you realize that there is a threat, and we have to stand up for Judaism and for the Jews. So those of you who are parents, who are telling your boys, girls, no guns, no swords, this is not what we do, this is not the Jewish thing, this is not politically correct. You know what? I'm sorry, there are times to fight. And there are times to let your children be the Maccabees in play, to know that people sacrificed so that we could be Jews today. People had to fight with the partisans during the war, in the woods, in the forest. People had to kill. People had to pick up the sword and, at least for the moment, put down the book. I'm Lori, almost live.